Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the North East Non-League Show, episode 45, Willington AFC special, sponsored by Jade Bell and DJ Private Hire. And as we said to Carl during the week, the show must go on, and I must be delighted to say that we have Carl and Matty on the show tonight from Willington as well. But lads, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem, Matt.
Excellent. Well, as you said, Carl, it's always nice to hear obviously from yourself and the players as well on the show, kind of what's been going on, and obviously lots of news since we wrote the original kind of plan for the show. I know the original plan was the previous manager, Kelvin, to come on and chat about the time at Willington so far and kind of the future going on. And we know things change over the weekend, which we chatted about, and breaking news today with new manager appointment as well, who will be joining us on the show in about 10-15 minutes time, and Nathan Beadle as well. So we're looking forward to chatting to Nathan as well. But yeah, just come to yourself, Carl, at the start. And obviously we spoke on Saturday night about last season to start off, and I know it was a tough season in Division 2, relegated on 3 points, and like you see, only scored a few goals, and a lot of goals going the other end. I mean, it was really frustrating, heartbreaking, but for yourself to see the club drop out of the Northern League, which is massive in the North East, it must have been hard for yourself.
Yeah, it was quite difficult to take, and it wasn't particularly enjoyable either. Yeah, I mean, I took Fred Usher was secretary start of the season, and then I was asked to step in, having a little bit of experience with Durham sort of the season before that, and it was just difficult. And I think the writing was on the wall just because of the season. And it's just like at the time we just didn't have a competitive budget, so we're always going to struggle to attract the better players, and then that's kind of the outcome. I mean, you can throw in, I think there was like 2 3-point deductions as well for various different reasons. One of which I'll put my hands up for. It was just administrative error. The number of players we ended up signing on. I think we ended the season about 100, and it was just constantly trying to fill gaps. And then you have like 6 or 7 players a week. Yeah, it was just like 6 or 7 a week, and then you're like, oh, can you sign these on? Can you sign so and so on? And then you think everyone's done, they're not, and then like he ends up playing. It wasn't until after I was filling the team sheet in after the match, and I'm checking the Northern League site to make sure I had the name spelled correctly, and I couldn't find him. I was like, oh no, and I'm like, oh, he hasn't been signed on. So it is what it is. But I mean, fortunately, it's not like we got relegated just by 3 points. I'd have been really sort of gutted then if my error had been the deciding factor. But we were a million miles away, like, so. We find ourselves in the Wearside League now, so not faring much better there either.
Good times ahead, hopefully. But Matt, yourself, I mean, I know, like you say, you've been involved in football now, and I think we always had managers on as well and players, and they've always said if they've been in a team that we just touched on there, where there's only say 16, 20 players, solid players throughout that season, you know what players are making runs, you know what players you can kind of gel together. But when you're getting, as you mentioned, there over 100 players in, it's just never going to click and never going to gel, is it?
No, not really, no. It's obviously a big word, continuity in football, isn't it? If you can try and get a settled side, obviously, then we laughing. But I mean, like Carl will tell you as well, the amount of players we've had signed on even this season as well, I think we've had about 53, 54 players, something like that. And we still kind of managed to get 11 out of times, or the same 11, shall I say. So, yeah, it's hard, but we try our best, and hopefully we'll get there soon.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And call me once that full-time whistle goes last season in Division 2. I mean, did you realise straight away the job that you had on hand, and obviously going forward as well?
Yeah. It's always going to be difficult. It's not easy at the best of times, to be quite honest. It's quite tiring. There's a lot goes on behind the scenes. It's not just a case of turn on match day, fill a team sheet in, and then bosh, you're done. There's just all sorts going on behind. You've got sort of the local FA and things like that, always email, and as well as the league. It's just, there's a lot of administrative stuff to sort out. And then when you're looking after the club as well, a lot of people don't fully appreciate sort of what goes on behind the scenes. And the amount of work that needs to be done, pitch clubhouse, sort of changing rooms, TO, ground maintenance. They're just everything that comes together. You've got to have a sort of dedicated core group of volunteers to sort of keep everything knitted together and keep it going. And you can see a lot of clubs sort of struggling. I'm not going to dig anyone out and like name them, but it's like you see, it's quite worrying and saddening when you're visiting clubs and maybe there's only one or two people keeping the whole thing together.
Yeah,
and a lot of like all historic clubs have been going a long time. And then you can see the calls on social media for volunteers, and I think we've seen clubs fold in the not too sort of distant past that have sort of just gone to the wind because they haven't got the people to keep it going. And they're like your lifeblood, really. If you haven't got them, then what does a club do? If people aren't willing to sort of do things, but I think it's just a reflection of how society is at the minute. Everyone's like grafting all the time just to make ends meet. It's a bit of a cliche, but you're like cost of living crisis, and people going to work and stuff, and it's like petrol's creeping up again. It's 150 odd a litre, and it's just like it's tough. It's tough on all fronts, and something's got to give somewhere for people. They want to spend time with their families, and then they're taking on the overtime when they can. And then that doesn't leave a lot of time to sort of volunteer and do sort of extracurricular stuff to keep the local community clubs going. It's hard. It is hard.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things that we talked about on Saturday night, which really stuck with us, was you mentioned in mid-pre-season, you're getting texts from other teams asking for friendlies when, like you said, you had no manager, no players. At that stage, it must have been quite a worry, obviously, with people trying to arrange fixtures and obviously looking ahead to the season.
Yeah. But I mean, that again was just probably following on from a bad previous season. So a lot of the players had all drifted off. So what you're up against, you sort of referring back to the continuity there. The majority of teams, like a good season, you would keep that core of players who've been playing together for probably 2 or 3 years. And then we'd already sort of started with nothing really, sort of our last season in the Northern League. And then we were doing it again. So we were getting through to the sort of, I think the AGM was something like the 19th of June, I think, somewhere there or thereabouts. Once that happened, then you sort of dissolve your committee, and then you rebuild a new committee or form a new committee. And it just, that's where we were. And I was very, very aware that other teams will be sort of, they'll have to take holidays and stuff, but teams will be preparing and will be training, the solid training that they're doing. Because I don't think you can play football. You're not allowed to play competitive matches in that. It's like a month off or something. And then as soon as sort of July hits, when you can start playing again, all your pre-seasons are booked in. But we get to the middle of June, and then we just start again. It's like rebuilding from the sort of middle of June. And you've got the clubs, emails and messages coming through Twitter and things, and just saying, "Are you free for a friendly? Can you host? Or we've got a pitch book. Can you go?" I was like, "I haven't got a team." You know what I mean? It's like, I've got no manager. I've got no team. You've got to wait the committees form before you can vote on where you're going with the new manager and things like that. So it's all this sort of due process that you have to follow as best you can. But we just started the season kind of on the back foot. So we're always like playing catch up, a month, 2 months, 2 months behind everybody else. So yeah, it was always in the back of my mind. It was going to be another tough season, but we generally thought we'll start bad and then we'll pick up, and hopefully just third bottom would be a target. Anything above that would be a bonus. Because as you drop, it's always a tough season. I mean, even talking like the Kev Harrison and things, who's the secretary that we decided, like he says, as long as he's remembered, he says there's not many teams that's dropped down from the Northern League and sort of got promoted again, because if you've dropped from the Northern League, it usually indicates that there's issues at the club. And I think some have dropped and even we spent a season or two and folded. And and you look over the history of different clubs that's been in the Wearside League. I can only was on non-league matters, and I had a bit look through that, and I was like, there must be some. And I think the only clubs that have dropped from the Wearside League and actually stayed the course and then got promoted again back into the Northern League, I could only sort of identify us, and the other one was Easington Colliery, who did the same, and they're sort of well established now in the Northern League since they got promoted from the Wearside. But we really dropped down, had a bad season, and then regrouped, and we got some of the Willington youth younguns in, and a chap called Rob Lee was manager at the time, and he managed to get them back into the Northern League. And then we were there ever since. A couple of dodgy seasons, but then we find ourselves back here again. It's difficult. It is difficult, but it's a tough league as well. You know, it's arguably one of the strongest Step 7 leagues that you'll find in the country, in my opinion. You know, there's some really, really good teams in there. And I think you can see that from the last few promotions. You know, the clubs are going up and they're not struggling. You know, most recently FC Hartlepool and who came up the previous seasons. You know, I can't remember because they don't even look different. You know, they're just their established Northern League clubs now. And even from the Alliance and the Ridings, like Borough Rangers have come up and they were flat. You know, they just flew through. And you probably could say the same that Newcastle Blue Stars are going to do something similar. So it's you find the Step 7 leagues, they often get a bad press, and people say, it's just the Wearside League, and it kind of annoys us that because I think it is just this Wearside League, but there's some good players there. You know, you get a lot of dual registers as well, so there's a lot of Northern League players that for whatever reason, you know, they might fall out with the manager or whatever, and then they'll just go and play Wearside instead. So it is a good standard. You know, it's there are some good clubs there.
Oh, that's it, isn't it? And I just want to say before I go on as well, amazing support from everyone that's tuning in so far. We're hitting above 30 now, which is absolutely fantastic. We really appreciate the support as always on the show. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as well, as we're closing in on 1.1 thousand now subscribers, which is amazing as well. A couple of comments coming in there. One from your mate there, Matty Aimward. Only one, Matty. I know. You're going to behave yourself tonight, but I heard some great stories on with Ollie Hutt last week, so we'll hope to get Ian on as well, because I would love to hear some more of them Durham stories from last week as well. And evening, Carl, as well. Thank you for watching. Yeah, just been mentioned at Carl. If you check across to our Facebook group as well, we just put a sponsor opportunities out there for Wilton, so the pitch board sponsors and everything there as well. You get yourself across the Facebook page and check that out as well. There's some great deals on there at the minute, so get across there and hopefully help the club out and push in the right direction as well. And getting back to this season, Matt, I mean, you know, Kelvin comes in and a lot of young players, but then you see some of the experienced players like yourself, obviously coming in, Hawkins, Jury, Moffat, but again, just couldn't get them players on the pitch at the same time, and it was kind of every game there was always kind of 5-6 changes, and it just doesn't help, does it?
No, it doesn't. No. Unfortunately, with Dan Hawkins, obviously massive signing, but got injured pretty much start of the season, so that was obviously a big gap. Signed Matty Moffat, obviously. Lads have got work commitments as well, so we do understand stuff like that as well. But obviously, when, as Carl said before, when you're trying to get up the leagues, you need to get the players in on a weekly basis, and if we kind of do that, then obviously, yeah, it's a struggle to obviously name the side continuously over the course of the season, you know.
Oh, it doesn't help. And like you mentioned there, Carl, I mean, we chatted on Saturday, and nice lad Kelvin came in and did a job, but 11 games in and obviously 0 wins, 2 draws, only scored a few goals, but the goals conceded as well. Do you think after that last game, obviously with defeat, it was time for a change, and hopefully with plenty of games left, as you say, pushing up that table as well?
Yeah, it's always a difficult decision, because I was always of the opinion that, like, try and give the manager the longest and best possible opportunity that we could. And that there was, I would say that there was nobody at the club who wanted sort of Kelvin, and it was Brett Cummins as well, like a bit of a club legend there, that they come into like sort of a joint role. Yeah. Nobody wanted them to succeed more than I did. You know what I mean? And I was again very aware that we didn't deal them the best hand. They weren't dealt the best hand to start the season. Yeah. You know, it's like, well, you know, come in late, try and sort of cobble a team together when most lads have already signed for another club, at that point in the season. So you're kind of sort of picking what's left. I don't know. Is that, without sounding too disrespectful, it's like a lot of the lads who might have come have already signed with someone else. It was very much a rebuild with limited resources and limited financial resources as well. It's not like we can go out and just say, they're going and spend £100 a game on players and stuff like that. You just haven't got that money, It's just there was a lot of constraints, and fair play to Kelly. He did give it the best that he could. You know what I mean? It's not like he didn't try. He did. He tried, and he does love the club. His motivations were right. There was never any sort of hidden motives or anything like that. He just had an affinity and love for the club, just like Brett was a club legend. 400 odd appearances and all-time leading goal scorer and things like that. They did try their very best, but then it's like you say, it's at the end of the day, it is a results business, and we really don't want to have successive relegations. So we've got,
definitely.
You've kind of got to look at it and ask yourselves, like, well, at what point would you need to sort of pull the trigger and try and give somebody else a chance who can maybe affect some change, and bring some of their contacts in and just say, look, I can turn this around. And it's not like the brief is we must finish in top 5. I think the brief is probably just try and get us into the out of the bottom 2, and that will be a success for us now. I think we're not going to sort of tart it up and paint it out to be something that it isn't. We literally, I would even say now is like the last throw of the dice. We wouldn't have time to even make another change further down, because I think by then it would be gone. But I thought if we left it too long, we would have been down by Christmas, because we just weren't picking up points that we needed. And some of the results, you just have a look at the scores, the score lines. It wasn't always pretty. But here we are. So it's
isn't it? Yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah. Like Carl says there as well, he gave his very best, but we'll never take that away from him as well. Evening, Jake. Thank you very much for watching. Asking what team it's for. This is for Willington, the Weeside League. Get across the social medias, follow the pages as well. Great club. Carl's mentioned there as well, Willington. And Matty, come to yourself, and I say hats off to yourself, because I know obviously after Kelvin leaves and you've got a game, you haven't got no time to prepare, and obviously players leave with Kelvin, and that always happens in football. And I mean, how hard of a job was it to try and get a team sorted for the Saturday game just gone?
Oh, honestly, I've got about 25 new grey hairs, to be fair. But yeah, very frustrating. But I want to give lads credit who came in from Sunday League sides, give us a hand, because obviously they split their Saturdays. They took their Saturdays up to come and give us a hand, so a massive appreciation to them. But yeah. Frustrating moment, very frustrating. But I suppose if it's for a good cause, then I would do it again.
No, like I say, Matty had being a part of that as well, haven't you? That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. Matty had the motivation to get some lads in, because if he didn't, he was left with me to try and turn me into some sort of footballer.
And I was holding a couple of dates on 20 minutes of front, wasn't Matty? That was the plan, wasn't
it? Yeah, that was the plan, yeah.
But no, like you say, you've got a team out, you haven't forfeit the match, and like you say, it's massive fines. I know you had to do it for the first game of the season, which we touch on in Carl, and like you say, you can't afford to not put a team out on the pitch these days, can you?
No, definitely not. No. All credit to the 16 lads who came. Obviously, the result wasn't great, but I think it was just a win itself, just to get the game on, given the circumstances that we were in. And obviously, new manager's going to be coming in from. We've already got him announced today, but he's going to start working with us on Tuesday, and then obviously Whelpdale Royster hopefully after that.
Yeah, definitely. Carl's top lad, Jay, that's Symphonia. Stephen Kyle, Blue and White Army. Got some fans on there tonight as well, Arnold. No, really good to see the comments coming in. Keep them coming as well. Like I say, Nathan just coming on in a couple of moments, I think, as well, which we'll get across and speaking to Nathan very shortly as well. But like you say, as well, Carl, off field, I know we spoke about this again on the phone on Saturday. And social media over the summer, looking really good. Like you say, just the updates on the pitch. I know there's a few people down helping up tidy up the ground as well, and some of the sponsorship. And it's nice to see the boards getting sold every week as well. It's nice to see people showing interest in the club, but then putting that out on social media as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you've got to get out there. I mean, that's all part of the sort of social media package, isn't it? You know, you get a bit of advertisement across the social media channels, which I'm solely in control of Twitter, but I'm finding my time's quite limited. Whereas when other people were doing stuff, I had time to sort of tweet and do match updates and things. And even last season, it just became, when the scores were sort of like ridiculous, I was literally running out of data, having to post all the time. And I just lost the will to live. Some of it, I thought, I just kind of be tweeting this. It's just too much. I'm having to keep track of who's scoring and how many goals you got to end a match text to send and all. And it just got too much. And now I'm doing like a million things, or it feels like a million things. It's kind of like being dropped down the list of importance. So it's just one of the things that we look at when you talk about volunteers. I think every club would love their own media manager who's coming in to run all the social channels and things like that. But it's again, finding people who have the time to do it and the necessary skills to do it well, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, the actual ground itself, it's the two twins, Paul and Sean Cooper, who've been working on it, and in that period where everything was sort of quiet and we weren't doing much, and before we get kick-started with rebuilding the club, they were just on that pitch every day, just working on it and sort of weeding it and rolling it and cutting it and just getting it where it needs to be. And it's still not where they want it, so there's still a lot of work to be done to get it even more perfect. But just around the clubhouse and the changing rooms, everything's had a lick of paint. I was sat on a roof painting it blue and white. So I was just tidying things up, fixing the toilet, which I did battle with that for about 3 weeks, trying to stop the leak on the toilet in the women's in the clubhouse. But I won in the end, so it seems to work for the minute. But yeah, it's just all slowly coming together. But that's off the pitch, so we can only do so much off the pitch. And then it's up to the footballing side to get it right on the pitch. But we have to give them the best possible opportunities and support that we can. Which getting the pitch in the condition it is, that's one step. Hopefully the nice pitch to sort of train and play on, and try and make Willington a bit of a fortress.
Yeah, definitely.
If we can, picking up some points.
Oh, really good. And evening, Nathan, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Not a problem. Sorry, I've been flying around. I can imagine you can. I'm a tad busy at the moment. I've got my own girls' club to run as well, so we've just been there. And my phone's been going a bit mad, and I've been on it all day. So, but I'm here for a little bit at least.
Excellent. No, I was hoping it was a bit better technology. I was hoping to get the little yellow strip at the bottom there saying breaking news and everything, Sky Sports and everything, but this will have to do. Carl's just been mentioning good budget coming in January for you as well. Massive budget coming in, so there's a plus as well. Carl just been mentioning there before you come on as well.
That yellow strip, being a Newcastle fan, really, you'll know we don't like to see that all over the place, so that yellow strip can stay away.
But no, great news today, like you say, breaking news, new gaffer. Well, excited with the challenge ahead.
Yeah, excited's one word. I'm looking forward to getting stuck in. I spoke to obviously Carl and the committee a couple of days ago, and I said that I told everyone that I was having a season off unless a project or something gripped me. And I spoke to you, Matty, as well, I think yesterday, didn't you? And I said there was just something about this that really gripped me. Community club, sort of the heart and soul of the Northeast is these little villages and these little towns that are about. I live in Shildon myself, which I think is massively similar to Willington, and there's just something about it. I think you were just on about the Carl, the brothers who look after the pitch, and it's just that sort of thing that it really gripped me. Everyone will know if you've been to Willington, it's it's that feel of non-league, isn't it? That feel of what proper football is about. So I'm really excited to go, first of all, to a club like that, and then second of all, to start building the team that really represents the club and the community well.
Yeah, really good. Like, yeah, meeting the players. Obviously, were you impressed last night?
Yeah, so it was good to sort of see them kick a ball about. I tried to stay in the shadows a little bit.
Yeah.
In the middle of pausing for some social media posts, which everyone's been nicely taking the mick out of me for just them. But yeah, it's good to see it. You know, there's a few lads there that deserve a crack at it and they want to be there, they want to play. Obviously, myself and Brad Blythe's going to come in as my assistant. We'll have our own players to bring in. And I spoke to them all yesterday saying competition's healthy, and I think that may be the downfall at the moment, that there's been a bit of complacency. They might not have had that competition for places because everybody knows, I've been a player myself, if you've got somebody breathing down your neck, you're going to be playing at 100%, whereas if you've got nobody there, you're not training, you've got six at training. You know, if there's 6 at training, you know you're going to get in the starting lineup. So, yeah, nice to see them there. Good numbers, I think, for the first, trying to pull it together for the first in a couple of weeks or months, and that'll only just grow and grow.
Excellent. Like you say, it's a massive club, and we were just chatting before you came on about some clubs that you look at now, and you kind of worry the clubs when you look at Division 2 at the minute, and it looks like the likes of Brandon could be joining next season and stuff like that. And these are massive clubs that's been involved in the Northern League so many years, and I would imagine excited by that challenge to try and get Willington back into the Northern League. Yes, it might take a little while, but it's a huge challenge, isn't it? It's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of speaks of where the club should be. If I haven't managed to catch up with any texts or anything that I've been having, but so many people have got in touch with me since obviously my announcement saying they deserve to be in the Northern League, get that club back into the Northern League, sort of. And that was the whole reason. As long as I've been around non-league football, I've known Willington as a Northern League club. Possibly a couple of years ago, pushing to be higher than that Northern League club. So that's the aim. Obviously, the aim is going to be to stay in this division to start off with. But as a non-league club, Willington should be in the Northern League Division 2 minimum. But I think Northern League Division 1 is where it belongs. You know, I spoke about the ground and the community and everything before, but everyone knows that's where that should be playing. That Northern League football should be played at grounds like Willington.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, looking at obviously very early days, and hopefully depending on the storm, that's obviously expecting a few days. Very excited to get your first game coming up.
Yeah, so I'll be officially taking charge after this weekend. Like I said, I was supposed to be having a season off, so trying to shuffle things around to get on the Saturday. So a massive shout out, mine. I know he's on the call, so I look as though I'm sort of sucking up to him. But Matty and Kylo have done a cracking job of getting the last game and this weekend going. You know, I think there's going to be a strong side out, to be fair, this weekend. But you know, they've done a cracking job of sort of steadying the ship while that transition goes. But yeah, after this Saturday, so I think my first official game will be Bishop Auckland Reserves. I think I'm right in saying that, and that's where we'll look to get started. Obviously, games is one thing, but that's not the first thing I've looked at. I might sound like a bit of a different manager here, but my work is done off the pitch and on the training ground. You've got to get that right. You've got to get the structure right. So I've been writing a 22-page portfolio that's going to go out to all the players in the next couple of days, and that's sort of the Bible that we're going to live by, all around intensity being our identity, which is a very Eddie Howe thing, I know, but it works. It works, yeah. But it's going to be, there's going to have to be structure, there's going to have to be discipline, and we're going to have to work hard off the pitch, on the training pitch, to reap the rewards on the pitch. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that first game underway. A couple of months' time, I think that's when you'll see the real work getting done. Yeah,
and you mentioned all that there, but I think sometimes it's just nice after so many games without a win, just hearing that new voice, a different formation, a couple of new players coming in.
Yeah.
Like, see that new manager bounce, it sometimes just lifts the players that little bit extra, doesn't it?
Yeah, I hope so. And there's the new manager bounce for the players, but me as being a new manager, I've got that bounce as well. You know, I've got that might in me to want to hit the ground running. I'm under no illusion whatsoever that it's going to be a hard task. Obviously, you look where they are in the table. you look at sort of ins and outs of players and how many signed on. It's going to be tough, but we will embed structure, a philosophy, a style of play, and we'll work together as a unit, 22 of us, to have that healthy competition, and hopefully we'll get the reaction. I mean, I think Matty will back us up. We've had the positive reaction already. I couldn't have asked for more from the lads who I've met literally briefly. They're on board, they want it, and I don't care if you play in the Wearside League or the Premier League. If you go with a professional outlook and you've got all of those ethoses in, it's going to start working. So that's what we'll do. We'll embed it. We'll have our way, and hopefully, attendances have been good. Actually, if you see the attendances and the people are coming to watch, hopefully more and more people will come to watch, and we'll be putting on a team that has Willington at the heart and soul of it, and people want to watch us, and teams will hate to play us as well. That's our aim. But at the moment, like you said, get a bit of bounce behind us, hopefully get some points on the board early doors, and then we'll build it from there.
Excellent. Well, no, thank you very much, Nathan. Like I say, very busy. I know I've got loads of texts to go back now and get them sorted as well. But no, thank you very much for coming on. Like I say, we wish you the very best of luck in the job at Willington as well.
Not a problem. And just before I go, a massive shout out to Carl and Matty and Kylo and the rest of the committee, because I think it's really important that this club, Willington, has the best chance it possibly does. And it was horrible to see the way it was going, and meeting that committee. It's superb. The players, the lads are good. So I think it really deserves it. And if we can have backing from wherever, then get behind us, because we'll try and build something, and we'll take it from there. But really appreciate that as well, Rainey, asking us to come on, because it's good to just sort of get it out there and air it. So really appreciate it.
No problem. But I'll enjoy the rest of your night as well.
Perfect. Thanks. Cheers, guys. Well, see you soon.
See you, mate.
Excellent. Always nice to hear, like you say, taking that time to come on the show. Like you say, I just showed you the club and obviously what the aims are going forward now. I hope you all enjoyed that part as well. But yeah, just come back to yourself, Carl. We've just been chatting there before Nathan came on about kind of things off field. And I know, like you say, a lot of people kind of look at saying, well, we're getting a lot of people through the door, the attendances, but it was really interesting to speak to you on Saturday. And like you kind of say, a lot of people kind of then don't know the bigger picture where, yes, the people are coming through the door, but then you've got to pay for the lights for the floodlights, you've got to pay for this, the referees, which is just crazy price at the minute. And a lot of people probably watching now don't really kind of realise, yes, there's a lot of people come in, but there's other things that can be paid first before playing budgets. And it's really important to get that thing right first before putting the money into the playing budget, isn't it?
Oh, without doubt. Yeah, without doubt. It's I've often looked at like other clubs and things, and you get like there's an increased number of clubs where they haven't got a ground. You just kind of like rent the pitch off the council. I mean, that's where I took Durham. I took Durham to slightly closer to Durham than Willington, to the Leyburn Grove, where you pay the council the sort of annual fees in 2 instalments, and then that's it. You've got your like your league fees, your cup fees, and your pitch fee, and then that you haven't got any other overheads after that. Whereas we have sort of electric, water, and then like your floodlights are on, that your sort of electric meter starts whizzing around because we haven't got the LAT type of lights, we've got the old bulbs. When the players come in and they whack all the showers on, again that sends the needle on the electric meter whizzing around when you've got how many showers are there, Matty? There's about 5 in each, 4 and 5 away or something like that. And it does collectively 5 electric showers all going in the home dressing room, 5 electric showers in the away one. It's all going to tot up, and then people think you're getting sort of 80, even to be a bit optimistic and say you've got 100 people there. They're not all adult pains, but if you allow, you have some kids on the sort of and concessions and things, but even so, I think if you take 200 quid on the gate, say, people think, oh, you got 200 quid, that should be okay. And the players, you give the players something. I mean, yeah, but you got 17 players, and then I've got a ref and 2 linos who collectively want 100 quid straight away plus travel expenses. So you're looking at anywhere between 115, 140 quid just for them. So it's important to keep your attendances up, but when it ends up, again, you're just going to end up on this potentially downward spiral. And I saw it last season where you start your attendances and you're getting your 80s, 90s, 110s, and you think, oh, that's all right. and then it's just not enjoyable to watch. You think, oh, can I be bothered to go to Willington on a cold Wednesday night? You know, and they're against top of the league, Gateshead, Leam Rangers, or Darlow Town, or one of the teams that's flying at the top somewhere, which is usually you think, they're probably just going to get humped, and they think, well, I'll just stay at home, you know, and I'll do something else. I'll get a couple of cans, and then you end up you lose them attendances, and then once you get below that threshold where you're not covering costs, and you think, I've only took 130 on the gate today, and the liners are 144. The refs and liners, it's like, oh well, now I've got a deficit, so I've got to try and make it up somewhere else. You know, and you just end up on this downward spiral. So there is a lot of costs there. And again, going back to like the pitch maintenance, people think, you know, it doesn't cost anything to look after a pitch, but you know, it's like nigh on £100 for a bag of seed. You know, so it needs reseeding, and petrol's gone through the roof, so you end up like having to cut it on your lawnmower. You're going through another 10-15 quid of petrol every time you want to cut it. It all adds up, you know, off the field. It's always just things just ticking over. You have to pay, and then the electric bill comes in, and then water rates come in. You think, oh, God, you know. And then we had a really hot spell as well during the close. I remember sitting on that the old toilet block roof, painting that thing blue and white. And it was glorious, but we had like a bit of a drought, so we had to think, well, the grass is going to die. So then we had to get like the hose pipe out and start splitting it. And all that's going through my mind is like, oh, the bloody water meter. What sort of bill am I going to be getting for this? But it's just like where's the money coming from? But we have been working hard. You know, it's like the clubhouse. We've got that back up and running again. It's almost like fully functioning with. We're getting like the Fosters and John Smith's draft back on. We're just getting the cider draft put on again. We had a little sort of party at the weekend. I think it was a birthday party we had. Because to me, I mean, I've got a business degree, so I just look at that and think, right, it's an asset. If it's shut, it's not making money. That's just no good. So if you're there, and we've had a couple of darts tournaments and we made a little bit of money. I mean, obviously it's not enough to me to go and buy a villa next to Iniesta over in Spain somewhere and retire as a rich chairman. That's just not how it works at non-league level. It's paying bills, but it's not still not generating the amount where we can sort of turn up the manager and say, oh, here we go, we've got this massive war chest now. You can start getting some decent players in and start paying and whatnot. But I'm happy that the club's, as a club off the field, it's financially stable now, as in it's covering its own bills and paying its few little bits of debts and stuff that it's accrued over the last little while. So we're on an even keel, and there's no sort of worries on my part about that, and I've even told sort of Nathan that I've had a chat there. So you know, we haven't got a lot, but we've got enough. We can start getting a little bit of training kit, and if you need any gear, you know, just put a request in, and we'll see what we can do. And if we've got the money, then by all means, you know, if you want some of them mannequins that you'd sort of set up and take free kicks and walls and stuff, you know, anything like that, target goals. And I says, don't go and look for some sort of weird sort of technology that's you know, $5,000 and subscriptions and stuff. We haven't got that sort of money, but if you need your basics and for the bits and pieces, just let us know, and I'm sure we'll try and sort it out and get something sorted. If that means sort of a couple of the committee putting hands in the pockets and just sort of chucking our own money in, which I'm not sort of unfamiliar with doing to keep the club going and paying a few debts. Then so be it. We'll just do it that way and just try and keep things right. So he's been on to us today about, can I order this from Airvec? Can I get that? I was like, yeah, that's not a problem. Just get that and we'll sort it. So just to add that little bit of professionalism, just so we're not looking like raggy ass rovers going out week in, week out.
No, 100%. Just before we get to the final part of the show now as well, still loads watching, and again, amazing support. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and again, if you haven't getting across to Willington's Facebook page, get that liked, and across the social media on Twitter as well. and give them a follow. A couple of comments as we've been going through. I know Carl was asking there, can I be the social media guru? I know a lot of clubs have asked since starting, and I know I'm so busy with it. I wish I could have more time to help out as much as we can, but we'll still keep sharing as much as we can in the North East Non-League Show group as well. Just someone asked Jake asking there, does Paul and Sean still do Willington? Any names mentioned there?
Cooper, yeah, Paul and Sean Cooper.
Yeah.
They're the twins. They're the two groundsmen that have been working their magic on it. So they were looking after Bishop Auckland's last season, I think, and then they sort of left there and they do Willington because fortunately where they were born, I think it's the Willington catchment area, so they were like Willington fans.
Right.
Another couple of miles further north, I think they would have been Tower Law fans, and Stevie Morley up there would have had them at the disposal for us. But unluckily for him, but luckily for us, they are where they are, and we've got them, and they're an absolute pair of diamonds as far as like the pitch and things go. You know, they know the stuff. I love listening to them because they've sort of been around the scene, been around Willington sort of years. You know, and they just have so many stories and people they met and like the stuff that they've done. And I think like all the pitch side boards or something. You know, I think they're getting them from I think the original were like Blackburn Rovers or something like that. You know, we have all these little links and stuff. I can't remember. It was one of these clubs that they get them from. Oh yeah, we've got these from there, and you know, because they got all theirs renewed, so they had all these old stuff, but it was still okay, and then we picked it up cheap. So I think through their contacts, you know, it's great listening to them. Like, you know, I love having a big crack with the Coopers.
Some great stories.
Really top lad.
Brilliant. And Matty Higgins just asking there, you talked through the top corner goal there as well. Scored plenty in time.
I haven't. No, he's just lying, man. He's just trying to get some cheap likes.
Let's have a look. Yeah, Gina's mentioned there the match official expenses are getting stupid now. I mean, I know I spoke to a couple of chairmen that's been on, and like you say, the travelling that you've got to pay for the refs, and they're sending refs from further away distance where they could get refs closer and stuff like that, and adding extra expenses on it. Just gets killing clubs as well. And Carl's mentioned their clubhouse available for bookings. Yeah, like you say, it just helps so much, doesn't it? Parties, wedding receptions, stuff like that. It's just going to help the area. And like you say, local people using it, it's just going to pass on and hopefully help that as a local, like you say, community club going forward as well, off the pitch as well. And just getting back, obviously, at this season, I know we've chatted a lot over the last couple of weeks, Matty, as well. And I know we mentioned, obviously, you're seeing the likes of Durham drop down, the double relegation. We've mentioned, as you've been talking there, Brandon and some other clubs are really struggling. And we just really hope that another club doesn't drop into that. It'd be nice now to see the club hopefully get that first win and now push on and keep away from the trouble now, won't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think obviously the committee's supposed to put the trust in Nathan now. Nathan's contacts is going to be valuable. They're going to be absolutely brilliant. What we need. Like you said yesterday, we came to training. But he's going to be giving lads a chance. If he feels that he needs to in any way, he's going to do that. And yeah, I can't wait to start working with him.
Yeah, and as a player and obviously new manager coming in, kind of what's your feelings on when you get an opportunity? Can you do this? And it's always a chance, I think, to show kind of what you can do in them first couple of training sessions and putting that first stamp down, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Like you mentioned before, when you've got 5, 6, 7 lads turning up to training, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I'm guaranteed a place for this starting 11 on Saturday. And obviously, yeah, numbers that we've had, there has been lads who have maybe obviously getting into the 11, where if we have a strong squad, you never know. That's myself included as well. But yeah, it's going to be really healthy competition once again, bring some lads in, and that's just going to make us work harder, and hopefully we see the results on the pitch.
No, definitely. And finally, with yourself, Carl, I mean, it's important. I think we've had loads of people watching tonight, and that's important for now. The people are willing to get along, support, try and get some sponsorship, like I say, use the clubhouse. But if there's people that hasn't been along that's watching the programme now and obviously watching back at a later stage as well, what would your message be to the people who are willing to come along and support?
Yeah, I think it's actually probably quite surprising how many people in Willington don't actually know there's a football ground there. It's just probably the fault of the club's part, not putting ourselves out there enough and having the time to go out and start putting posters up in the local businesses and just get re-engagement with with the community that's currently there. But I would also say, I mean, not unique to Willington either, because I know all your subscribers and things, probably, yeah, one of them didn't even know what the club it was, but any club, you know what I mean? Like, there's loads of non-league clubs out there, whether that are desperate for help, and people just to sort of care a bit and help out on anything, and it isn't glamorous, you know. There isn't a lot of glamour to it, sort of sitting on the turnstile and sort of taking people's £3 or £5 or whatever level you're at, or wandering around picking up bottles that people have dropped and a bit of sort of litter collecting, or sweeping out the changing rooms. You know, there's loads of jobs there that need doing, that somebody needs to do. But I mean, clubs would love it. I know that even like our neighbours, like Brandon, they would love like an army of volunteers. I know Tow Law would love an army of volunteers. And I can't remember who told us now. I think somebody said if like in non-league clubs, if they're offered like £1 million or sort of 10 volunteers, you know, constantly, I think, you know, you would spend all your £1 million probably quite quickly. I think I've spent over £1.5 million in my head at Willington, and it's gone. But I think the 10 sort of solid volunteers for sort of like, you know, years and years would sort of outweigh that in the long run. So whether it's your Brandons, your Eschwinans, your proper old school, not like Northern League clubs with the grounds like your Tow Laws and your Crook Towns, and you know, like you know, they all need the volunteers. And we've seen it with other clubs. They just haven't had the people. I mean, I think it was a little bit more with was it Rye that folded in. But I think there was sort of volunteers needed there. I think you look on social media, I think RCA is doing well, you know, at the minute. But again, you know, they need the volunteers. So I think there's a couple of the sort of old previous committee have come back in from what you see in the social media posts. But it's just, again, sometimes you can have the money, but you haven't got the people to help the club. You know, the club's gone. You know, and you end up becoming some sort of annal of history. You know, just like Stanley United and things like that. You know, all these clubs that were there. And I think I was reading that Northern Coalfields, you know, Middlesbrough, Ionopolis or something like that. You know, all these sort of old clubs that were like mainstays of the Northern League and like other non-league divisions, and they're just gone, and they're kind of never going to come back again.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you don't help them now, and then the clubs end up just going to the wall, you're not going to get them back. And it'd be an absolute travesty, you know, for clubs like Willington and Tow Law. I mean, Tow Law, 1889 or something, Tow Law. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like the late 1800s, and Willington's like 1906. But even if you scratch the surface and look at Willington, you know, that's when the current incarnation of Willington was 1906. But previous to that, you had like Willington Wednesday and Willington Temperance. You know, it used to be Willington Temperance that became Willington AFC, and then there was other Willington Albion and Willington Wednesday was another one. Yeah, there was like quite a few different ones that kind of like merged and sort of formed what it is today. And a lot of these clubs have a lot of history behind them, and it'd be absolute travesty to lose them. You know, so I would just say anybody who's interested in the non-league, you know, the clubs do need the volunteers, you know, not just us. So I'd like to give us a plug as well. By all means, come and help us if you want. But if it's a little bit too far for you, there's plenty of clubs that'll be around your local region that fully appreciate some free labour. Sure, they would.
No, it'd be nice to see. But I think obviously with the show it's been very positive, and hopefully, like you say, we'll see a few more getting along to the games. And I think with Nathan coming on, it sounds very promising going forward as well. So I hope we've done the club proud, and like I say, hopefully we're getting a few more fans down. And we wish you both the very best of luck, and thank you very much for both of you coming on the show tonight as well.
Always a pleasure, really.
Thank you.
Excellent, brilliant. And back tomorrow night, 9:10. We've got a former Newcastle player on, Ross Gardner, to talk about, very interesting actually, one of the players that had to leave the club through the Peter Beardsley bullion era as well, and obviously went to Nottingham Forest, played for England's schoolboys as well, and captains of England, and obviously went through a lot of addictions as well. So really interesting to speak to him tomorrow night as well. So get that tuned in at 9:10 tomorrow night. But again, thank you very much everyone that's watching, everyone that's hit the subscribe button for us tonight as well. And if you haven't already, get across to Wilton social media pages, like and follow them as well. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your night as well.